Hi, my name is Rochelle Ireland. I am a singer-songwriter from Alberta, Canada, and I also sew. And I've not made YouTube videos before, so bear with me. But today I will be reviewing a pattern by Wear Lemonade, an indie pattern company from France. And it's the Daria dress. So I was looking for a shirt dress pattern because they seem to be all the rage this summer, but the collared ones are all over the place, and I wanted a shirt dress with a difference, like with sort of more of a youthful appearance, because those ones with the collars, they seem so respectable and mature and grown up, and it just didn't feel like me. So I ordered this pattern, and I'm going to go out in the garden and show me wearing it. They do a twirl in the garden and you can see what it looks like. I'm quite happy. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And then I will talk about the making of the dress.
I'll take my worn out sorrow sunny side up and take my empty coffee cup and fill it up. I'll chase these blues away. It's a brand new day. Turn on the radio, they forecast rain again. Look for a change only to find more of the same. Don't listen to what they say. It's a brand new day. I tried to dance but I fell flat on my face. A sad song girl, think they've got me placed. They say.
So when my pattern came in mail, it came like this, and it just came in the cutest little packaging. You open it up, it's got polka dots, and it's got this little tag. All of their printed patterns come with this little tag that you can sew into your garment after you're done, which is why I had my heart set on getting the printed pattern. You can order their patterns, PDFs of their patterns, but it's a monthly subscription. So I just order the printed patterns because I love the little labels. I sew them in, and it just feels like, ready to wear, but made by me. And so it's kind of fancy. It's very, very cute. So when I got this dress, it came, and I noticed right away that the size 40 is exactly my size, which is so cool and never, ever, ever happens. So I just traced off my bodice pieces, and I started cutting out the skirt pieces. The skirt pieces are all one size. There's only one size to cut out, because as you can see, the dress is gathered, and so they just have you gather it. I guess you would gather it more or less depending on what your size is, whether it's smaller or bigger. So here's the dress, and there you can see I found the cutest little buttons. I'll put a picture in so you can see it properly. But I found them at Fabricland, and it's made out of eyelet that I found locally. So I got started. I cut out the one size for all the skirt pieces, and then I traced out my bodice pieces, traced out my proper size. This is probably one of the most unique features of this shirt dress. I haven't seen it on any other shirt dress, and it's partly what attracted me to want to make this dress. The other thing I should mention is I hacked the sleeves. So the regular sleeves would just be a normal hemmed sleeve, and I originally made them that way, but I decided that more of a peasant sleeve would be flattering on me. It gives it a little bit more of a peasant style. I just liked it better. I thought it looked better. I tried it on one sleeve, tried it on, liked it, did it on the other sleeve. So basically I hemmed it like the pattern had me hem it, but treated this hem like a casing, and then I just fed through some really thin elastic that I had around and sewed it up. And yeah, other than that, it is exactly as the pattern would have me make it. And there's my little tag that I've sewed on. I should talk about the darts. If you're going to make this dress, I have to mention that the instructions are in French and English. There's French on this side, on your left-hand side, English on your right-hand side. But I wouldn't say it's probably a direct translation. I'd say the translation is probably a little wonky, just in places. For the most part, they're really, really good. And if you ever get hung up, they have these beautiful picture instructions. And also they have videos online of her making the entire dress. But it's all in French. For the most part, this wasn't a problem. But when I got to the dart piece, here I'll show you. I traced out my back bodice. And what it says, I'm showing it to you backwards. There we go. So that's what I traced out. And what it says is, move the notches and circles of 0.5 centimeters to the right between each side for the sizes 40 to 46. So I kind of sat there scratching my head for a bit. Eventually what I figured out is that they have marked the darts for size 38. And then, depending on your size, if you're smaller, you're going to move this way by 0.5 centimeters per size. So you would retrace these dart markings, but you would move over 0.5 per size. So, you know, the next size under, the next size under, the next, that kind of idea, right? And so the opposite for the bigger sizes. So I'm only one size bigger than the size 38, which they have marked. And I just move all my dart lines over by 0.5 centimeters for both this dart and for that dart. And I marked my darts in red to avoid confusion when I was making this. And then after I did that, I sewed it up. It worked beautifully. So I think I'm doing it right. I just had to sort of figure that out. And if I'm telling you to do it in a wrong way, I apologize. But that's what I got figured, and it did work for me. Another thing that attracted me to this dress was the fact that it has pockets. I love pockets, and I'm a huge fan, so of course I was very excited that there were pockets. But now that I've worn it a bit, you know, I made it quite a while ago and I've worn it, I find I don't actually use these pockets because they're a little different from other dresses I've made. See, this waist seam is all the way up here. It's a little bit higher maybe. I think it is. More of an empress line maybe, and the pockets are way down here. So I find I don't use them because it's really hard. Like normally you would just reach, you'd find the side of your dress and your pockets just slightly under, but these are way down here, and they just get lost, and then you end up endlessly, see right now I can't even find it, you end up endlessly searching for your pockets, and then you give up and you just don't use them very much. So if I am going to make another version of this. I've already got it planned, but I'm not going to be making pockets on this dress. I just don't feel like it needs it. They're not practical. I would recommend that you stabilize your buttonholes. They did not tell me to do that in the instructions, but I just found it gave me a neater, much sturdier finish when I did that. So I stabilized all down this placket, and then I cut another strip of stabilizer and I stabilized all down this placket as well. And the only thing I didn't stabilize, and I'm kicking myself, are these bigger buttonholes, and I will show you for the tie. They're just a little floppy. I don't know if you can see. Pulling my tie through. There we go. They're just a little floppy. These buttonholes there were no real clear instructions on how to make those buttonholes. They just said, make buttonholes. So they were really, really large. I ended up making mine 41 millimeters. I feel like now that it's made, those 41 millimeters is a little big. And so it does gape a little bit when I tie it, but it's not a big deal. But when I go to make it again, as I will be making this again, I'm going to make them just a little bit smaller and see if I like that better. Also, I will stabilize them. I really love how they did the facing. I'm going to show you a little image of how it's sort of laid out. But basically the tie is grown on to your bodice piece, and the inside facing has a grown on tie as well. So it's all, the tie is made up of both a facing piece and bodice piece grown on. You can see from the diagram. And it's just beautifully finished. So on the inside, where you have that buttonhole that I talked about, it's actually, it goes through the bodice and the facing, and it kind of affixes the facing down on the inside, which I thought was a really nice detail. It's just a really nice way to finish it. I've not done a facing like that, and normally I'm not a huge fan of facings, but I really like the facings on this. It keeps the dress nice and airy and light for summer, because you don't want, I don't think you want all those extra layers in summer. The less layers, the better. You're going to be a lot cooler. When you go to make those buttonholes, the really big ones for the tie, I recommend that you pay attention to how much thread is on your bobbin. Because when I was making it, I was just zipping along, making all my buttonholes, and I got to those buttonholes and they're huge. They're much bigger than a normal buttonhole. And I ran out midway, ran out of bobbin thread, halfway done one of my buttonholes, and I had to just sew a straight stitch along the one side that it missed making, and then I had to zigzag over it and just kind of make my own half a buttonhole. It worked, but yeah, if you could save yourself a lot of hassle if you just check your bobbin. Make sure you have enough thread before you begin, because it wasn't fun. It was a little interesting, but I got it figured. I shortened the dress by about 5 inches. I am 5 feet 3 inches tall, and I just find that a little shorter for this dress makes it look very youthful, and you know, I'm quite petite, so I shortened it, which was great. Loved the length, but I got excited because my dress was starting to come together at this point, and I wasn't really reading in much detail the directions, so I just skipped ahead and I made all my buttonholes, and then I had to try to hem the bottom here. And of course, when I shortened it 5 inches, the hem falls just below that bottom buttonhole. So if you make your buttonhole, then hemming this is going to be tricky. So I recommend, like they tell you in the directions, hem it first, then do all your buttonholes. It'll be a lot easier. You will save yourself some trouble. Those are the key points I thought if you're gonna attempt this dress, which I highly recommend. Yeah, just watch out for those little bits, and I hope I've helped you with the darts, because yeah, it was a little bit of a head scratcher for me. So yeah, thank you for tuning in.